All right, you're not alone. You're not the only person going through the crap you're going through right now. You may think it's unique. You may think a lot of things about what you are going through, but you're not alone. In this episode, we're going to talk about just, hey, crap happens to us all. The difference between the people that make progress is who we refer to often as the winners, and the people that get stuck and keep repeating the pattern as the losers. We're going to talk about that subject on today's episode of the Maturity Project. I'm your host, Chad Everbrosiers. Let's just get right into it. So, look, I have definitely been through the ringer enough in my life where some people from the outside would look at it and be like, either, dude, you have a streak of messing up, or you just have a knack for gaining some lessons. Now, here's the thing. How do you measure the progress? How do you measure the success that somebody's gone through, right? We know how to measure success when it comes to finance because we see them with, whatever cumulative thing is, right? The materialistic thing that shows that they have their finances in order, or at least they have greater financial gain than somebody else does, at least on the outside. Right? They've got the expensive European sports car in their driveway. They've got the big house. Their kids are in private school, whatever. Watches, the type of clothes they wear, where they shop, things like that, right? We can qualify that. It doesn't guarantee that they're actually wealthy. It just shows that they have the ability to go to those places and purchase those things. Then, we have other factors, but we can qualify that, right? We can qualify what we don't give qualified values for is relationships that stay together and they work. We don't give really, you kind of, some people will, if you're in good shape and you've been in shape for a while. That's another value that at least you seem to know something applicable and functional in that field, right? It works. If you look at the 8 different areas of maturity, you'll see what I'm talking about. The physical body. Is the person sick regularly, or are they pretty healthy often? Are they in good shape? That kind of thing, right? It's anything dealing with the physical body. Do they have an ability to perform better than other people? That's obvious and people can agree upon. Yeah, that's fine. You can get that. In the community, how many people do they know? Who are they connected to? Could you pick up the phone and call more than 2 people to help you move? Right? What do we use to qualify maturity and community? And the fact that you actually have developed yourself there. What do you use? Have you thought about this? What's the emphasis about thinking about it, right? It's going to show you. Where are you with your community, right? Knowledge. Who stands out in the room? You'll see something interesting with knowledge too, though. You'll get people that are so insanely book smart, but they don't seem to have common sense, right? Like this interesting thing. Intelligence is a very big thing, and it is not just specialty intelligence. It's the entirety of it. And a big piece of intelligence that people often make fun of, but I'll tell you how they do it too. But they often make fun of it, and that's the people that are adaptive. But you don't hear them making fun of adaptive. What you do is you hear them saying the statement, a jack of all trades is a master of none. No, they're adaptive. They're adaptive. And they are masters of adaptation. Now, when it comes to survival, you're probably going to want to have some of that in your background, right? But in the intelligence factors, there's a lot of directions you can go in intelligence. You can qualify when you think about it, right? You have access to all of this. You do. Most of us are so fixed in their way, that are in our way, we're not going to think outside of our way. And then we're just going to look at other people and be like, oh, okay, you're good there. Cool. You're special. You have some sort of genetic adaptation or some sort of genetic gift, right? God showed favor to you. Whatever. Now that's a fun conversation piece. All right. So, and then we get into emotions. Some people just seem to have it together. Things are happening around them. The world's falling apart, and they're just like, okay, we're going to move through it. I feel it. But they're so incredibly, it's like they're stoic to it, right? And I would give stoicism a measurement for success and emotions. It doesn't mean they don't feel they feel emotions. It's just that they sit analyze before the emotion takes off with them. An immature emotional state is one that you can't control your passion, your patient and thought-driven analytical portion of your mind. If it takes you quickly, that's an area of weakness and emotion, and that's an area that it's an immaturity in emotion. So, finance. Do you save money? Do you know how to invest money? Do you understand what's your relationship with money? How do we qualify success with money? Just because, again, as I mentioned earlier, you have X amount of money so you can buy a bigger house and all that stuff. But just because, let's say you make $500,000 a year, as an example, we can leave that as a watermark, right? That does give a degree of success with finance, right? You're earning that much money, whatever the business aspect is, which we'll get to that in a second. Now, whatever you are in that, yeah, cool. You may make 500 grand a year. When I made, I was definitely easily in the six figures and projected to be well healthy into the six figures in my youth. I was in my 20s. I found that I was purchasing and spending the money as fast as I made it. Newest cell phone came out, I was ready for it, man. I was going to buy it. You name it, TV, whatever. I was just, hey. And at the end of the pay period, I was right there at the line of being broke again. You can spend everything you make. Where are you with your financial maturity? There's also people that are undercover millionaires, right? And just because they have an enormous amount of money in, that's at their disposal, that doesn't necessarily mean they're financially mature either. That just means that they have a significant discipline when it comes to spending and saving. But you can go further. We can actually make it functionally mature in something that you can still derive joy in your life, experience life, and not put yourself in this, the chains of debt, right? Business. You can open your own business, or you can work for somebody else. Business. How do you measure the success of business? Now, for yourself, where do you measure it? If you work for a company, how many times have you been promoted? Let's say if you've worked for a company for 5 years, how many times have you been promoted in 5 years, and how many promotion opportunities came up? From your position to the next position up, how many times has that even been an option? Or how many times have they filled that position? That has to do with business maturity. Now, if you're going to open your own company, what do you know about it? There's a lot that goes with that. It is in the fitness industry, which is one that I've spent a lot of time in. I created a consulting company in that. I'm creating more consulting opportunities and business development in that arena, fitness arena. And I can tell you that, almost every single trainer I've ever talked to says they're going to open their own gym one day. But when I ask the critical questions about what do you know about running a business, they have pieces, but the pieces that are missing are the shadows of the blind spots that are why nearly no one succeeds in that industry. In the United States, restaurants and gyms fail the most out of every single business in any industry. They're the two that fail the most. There's a reason for that. They're typically led by heart and not a lot of logic. And I'm not picking on it. It's just there's a lot of people with really good hearts that are really passionate about it, but they just don't know the rest, right? They may know how to get clients to sign up in the sales side of things, but they may not know marketing. They may not understand the financial and maturity aspects that are necessary to be successful. How much operating capital do you need to have for 2 years in order to sustain the business as you get to the point you hit your break even? What's your business proposition? What kind of management systems will you use? What mission statement does your business have? Do you have a culture idea in your mind? And do you know how to create the management systems necessary to sustain that management, or create and sustain that management system? What are you going to do from scalability? There's a lot of things that come into that trainers are just, hey, I know how to get people to lose weight and build muscle. Great. You have a part of the process, but you're going to need more. Right. So on the business side of things, that's just fitness, but there's many, many businesses. If you work in a company, Are you a political player, right? Are you playing politics in the company? Are you connecting with people and not playing politics, but you're showing them that you're the ideal candidate and you're likable? Now, people that play politics, by the way, that's where they basically kiss ass, or they do everything they can to continue to convince the people that would be responsible for hiring that they're the likable person. They're the ones that they can depend on, and they like to be around them because it's hard to fire your friend and it's hard not to promote your friend, right? That's a game they play. But as a business owner and somebody who's hired and terminated quite a few people in my careers, I will tell you that I look for your ability to do the job, whether I like you or not. But part of you doing the job is whether or not I like you, because I'm a person. But I may not like you if you're trying to make me like you. I'm almost certainly not going to. I want the genuine human being. I don't want the crap that's just trying to convince me you're the right person. So I say all of that because that's important to understand when it comes to business maturity. I do not advocate to play politics in a business, but to be the ideal person and all of the aspects necessary to be successful. There is a difference between the two. One actually is earnestly building themselves up to be the person that can do whatever is needed for that position, including that your boss will like you because they understand that you really just want to do a good job and you want to help them look better by getting the job done, right? That's great. Sexuality. Sexuality is a real interesting one, right? Because when you're dealing with sexuality as a maturity measurement, what is fascinating to me is that just because you're good at hooking up with somebody does not mean you're sexually mature. You're just sexually mature in the way of closing the deal, right? I'm not an advocate for creating the deal concept in sexuality. That's not my preference, but I know that that is a way that people communicate with their close friends. Guys will say that to other guys. I've actually heard women say that to other women, and women have confided that in me. That's something that they were convinced that was an ideal direction. There's all kinds of interesting things when it comes to sexuality, but there's also people that have to have the most fashionable clothing falls into sexuality. It's sexuality maturity, or sexuality and community, but that's more sexuality than community. The flashy stuff, right? It's peacocking. Right? I am the ideal partner, and this is why. Look at the clothing I wear. Look at my style. Things like that. They use it as a superficial entry point, and then they have whatever else is necessary to try to let that person know, very much like playing politics in business, to play politics in relationships. I'm the person you want to be with because I'm the one that's going to make your life better. I got these things that I do in the bedroom, and people in your community will be appreciative, especially when you get into trophy wives or husbands, those kind of things. That's not going to bring satisfaction. That brings satisfaction through a business model and a financial model in relationships or sexuality, but that's not going to bring the fulfillment where it is that deep love that most of us are looking for. By the way, if you haven't taken the time, stop the video right now for a second. Write down your definition of love. If you find that it's pretty hard, you need to go to the internet to figure it out and to define it. You don't have a working definition yet. Put some thought into it. I promise you it's going to be a wonderful breakthrough for you. And if it's not a wonderful breakthrough for you, you didn't do the work. And if you need to go to the internet to define what love is, by definition, it is not love is love, because that is a definition based off of the word itself. You can't define the word by the word. It doesn't work that way. You have to have something to be a descriptor of the word. Come up with yours. You will be surprised with this exercise. I do it in the relationship course. You'd be surprised how little people understand love. They're like, it's a feeling you get. Okay, cool. So is gas. So is I have to go to the bathroom. So is hunger. It's a feeling I get. You're not describing enough yet. You haven't given me anything to go with. Pretend I'm an alien, right? You need to teach me what the hell that word means so I understand it. There was a movie back in the 80s. I believe they did something similar. It was called Earth Girls Are Easy. With Jeff Goldblum was in it, and a couple other actors. It was actually a fun movie. No, but it's the 80s. May have been the early 90s. I'm pretty sure it was late 80s. But anyway, birth girls are easy. God, it's silly. Anyway, all right, so that's sexuality. There's more to it, but we'll just move on to the last one, and that is spirituality or purpose. How do you measure that? What have you done with your life? The easiest way to do this is, what is your legacy? If you were to die today, what will people know about you? Who will you be to the people that meet those in your life that know you, but did not meet you themselves? Who will you be to the people that have known you? Purpose. Spirituality and purpose. To me, they're the same thing. What are you doing? You can find your purpose through religion. You can do that. I'm not downing it. And you pick your religion. Go with whatever one you want. But if you want fulfillment and a higher maturity in that world, you will see that people like yogis and people like that are these spiritual monks, those kind of people, you will start seeing commonalities within them because you have those commonalities growing within you, which is this deeper wisdom and understanding of life, but also something that makes you realize that you can live past your lifespan. You can make massive contribution to the world the more you mature in that work in that position. So, all right, that's spirituality, and there's a lot more to it, but we'll keep it at that. So, write down on the spirituality column or the topic, what will people know of you from their perspective, not yours, but their perspective if you were to die tomorrow? What would they know about you? Or die today, what would they know about you tomorrow? Right? So, and if it's one of those things like, God forbid they get into my phone, you probably should look into that. Now, all right, so that's that. I will say this. I'm not coming to you as your guru. I'm not doing any of that stuff. All I'm doing is saying, hey, we have these qualifiers to understand the areas of maturity, okay, so that you can develop yourself. You can be responsible for yourself. You can make the life that you want to live, but you need to do the work. The reason why so many people have not done this and why so many people have not done the work to make their life that is because they don't know where to start. They have no idea how to categorize things. They don't know what kind of work to do. That's what we're doing here at the Maturity Project. We're creating that, right? Here I am. I'm recording in my driveway. Because I'm failing forward and failing up. I'm not going to wait until I have a mansion to do this. I'm not going to wait until I have a really great studio to do this. I'm in the process. I'm failing forward and failing up. Do it with me, right? I have surrendered to the idea of having a massive house to show you that I know what I'm talking about. I have surrendered the idea that I need to have a specific amount of money in my bank account. I have surrendered the idea that I'm going to be rejected and made fun of. Because, yeah, that stuff can happen. But for the people that truly want to grow and develop themselves and mature, they are the people I do this for. The people that want to make fun of and all of that stuff, whenever you put stuff out online, and that typically people make fun of others from where they themselves lack, and they see something in somebody else. Sometimes it's like the fear of putting themselves out there. It's easier to make fun of somebody than to sit in the realization that they didn't put themselves out there, right? There's a lot of reasons to it. I'm not better than anybody else in that sense at all. As far as I don't really make fun of people because that's not really my thing. I don't care to. I would rather understand people and understand how we're different and how I can better myself knowing what's different between the two of us. And potentially, and my goal is to see how I can save them from themselves if possible, right? But I don't want to do the work for them, and I need to learn what's necessary in order to do that for others. So that's what I do all the time. So I'm doing this. I'm putting it out there. I surrendered to doing it right. It's a surrender to the idea of doing it right. It said, screw it. I'm going to do it. So give it up, right? And be willing to humble yourself. God knows I've done that. And I continue to do that. And you're going to catch me doing that. Because look, the more I feel like I've developed myself and I'm right, the more likely I'm worried about looking good. And then less likely to start making content. Obviously, I'm trying to make it better. I'm working on that regularly, developing myself for it. And I encourage you to do the same thing. At the end of it all, most people are going to forget you even did anything that was actually the screw-ups. But you're going to get a lot of praise for the areas you were good in the way that you were successful. And you're going to get a lot of hate there too, because of the people that haven't done the work. But regardless, you're still going to make the progress necessary to change lives and to see your goals come to reality. So surrender to it, right? Some of that might be taking a job in a position that's well below your abilities so that you can get involved and you can start doing something. To me, that means there's a lesson in that acceptance of a low position. Learn it. Take it on and learn it. I promise you it's going to make you better. You're going to learn something. You might get a new part of your life you didn't even realize was there. Maybe the last time you did that kind of work, you weren't as developed as you are, which I guarantee. And you'll have a new insight. Who knows? Okay. All right. That's it for today. This is the Maturity Project. I'm your host, Chad Everett Broshears. If you can, put a comment in the comment section. Share this video with the people in your life that are your support system. The reason why I'm asking you to do this, when you're up to something and you're making change, if you don't tell people you're up to it, when the stress comes from the changes you've made, they're going to try to bring you back to where you were when you decided to make the change, that state you were in, because they know you better there, and they also know how to help you with your stress there. If you don't tell them that you're up to something, they don't know, and they're going to do what they can to try to take you someplace that they can help you. If you enroll them in your change, like sharing this video, you're more likely to get them to understand and not try to bring you back and figure out how they can help you or support you in this new state. It's important. Don't do it in silence. I know there's people out there, motivation videos and all that crap that says, do it in silence, show them, that kind of stuff. If they're not your friend, they're going to try to stop you and sabotage you. If they're not really your supporters, they're going to do that to you. Shouldn't you and wouldn't you want to know that right now? But if they are, this will help you, I promise. All right. Till next time, every single failure you had yesterday is setting you up for success for tomorrow. Okay? Don't be afraid to fail. Fail forward and fail up. Do it with us. Comment in the comment section. Anything you want to throw in there. I love you guys. We're all up to something. We're all up to this together. We will grow together. Okay? Till next time. All right. Let's get up to something. Let's get up to it together. Let's go.